This is a video about the Duardin, the Dwarfs, in the Soulbound Age of Sigmar role-playing game. Which archetypes can you play? Hello, this is 60 Goblins and 1 Brush with another Soulbound Archetypes video. Which Dwarfs, which Duardin can you play? There are two factions, the Fyreslayers and the Kharadron Overlords, of course. And they're both quite different than the other archetypes you can play, because dwarves are dwarves. And what is the main motivation of a dwarves to undertake anything? Gold. But before I start, I want to thank you again. The channel has passed the 10,000 views mark and the 400 hours watch time mark. So from now on, YouTube is taking this channel serious. Thank you very much to all the viewers and subscribers. And I will not monetize the channel. Maybe in the distant future, who knows, but I'm not planning to. I myself find those advertisements quite annoying. And unless you do not have 10 or 100,000 subscribers, it's not worth it. For €2.50 per 1,000 monetized views, I'm certainly not going to annoy you with advertisements. So, back to the Duardin. Why would a Duardin character join a Soulbound group? First reason, of course, gold. Gold or ether gold. And in a group, it's easier to earn gold than by yourself. And most Duardin characters see being in a Soulbound group as a kind of contract. Yeah, you help them and they help you gathering gold or ether gold. Second reason, fame and glory. Third reason, dwarves are not as long-lived as elves. So if you're part of a Soulbound group, you can live longer and thus again you can get wealthier. You might be sent also by your city in the sky or by your lodge, but not by your god, because Grimnir is kind of dead and Grungni is living in Azir and has almost nothing to do with the Kharadron Overlords, who do not really like him because they think he abandoned them. Lastly, you might take an oath for something. For example, if you are a Doomseeker, a Slayer, you may take an oath to die in a glorious battle against overwhelming odds. And where better to achieve that than in a group of supernatural heroes. And lastly, you might be in it for the knowledge. Kharadron Overlords are scientists, aiming to discover all the secrets of the ether gold, the precious and holy metal that is lighter than air. And Fyreslayer battlesmiths are historians and bards. They gather stories and make stories of great heroes, and the Soulbound are great heroes. They don't only do this to record history, but also when they chant or tell a tale of glory, it strengthens their friends in battle. So there are 3 Fyreslayer archetypes. Firstly, the battlesmith, who is a bard whose songs buff your friends. Secondly, the AURIC RUNESMITER, which is a priest but also a warrior. And thirdly, the Doomseeker, who is an all-out warrior. He's the one who's he's planning to die in a glorious battle. The most important features about the Fyreslayers are their oaths, their sense of honor. Then the runes, they get etched into their skin instead of armor. Their lust for gold. And their allegiance to a lodge. Which of course when they join a Soulbound group, this allegiance is not so strong anymore. Or is likely to be gone. And one reason, for example, to join a Soulbound group could also be that your lodge is destroyed. And you're looking for something new. This is very different from the KO. The KO are mostly traders, with a little bit of piracy in there, but don't tell them that. And they are opportunists and mercenaries, so they will always look out for their profit first, even a Soulbound group. At the same time, they are scientists, and none more so than the AETHER-KHEMIST. The AETHER-KHEMIST is for the Duardin what the magician is for all other races. But they abhor magic, so they are into science instead. And with the ether gold, they can do miraculous things. And while the AETHER-KHEMIST is trying to find out all the things that you can do with ether gold, the ENDRINMASTER's main occupation and interest is in building engines, or endrins. Greetings from Ender's Game. If you don't know the novel, read Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. And lastly, there's the Skyrigger. The Skyrigger is a warrior specialized on the use of ethermatic guns, which are devastating. You're basically Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator, carrying a mini cannon, a minigun. Or was it Carl Weathers? And of course you can fly, which makes up for being much smaller than Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers. And at the same time you're also a scientist, because your usual job when it's not about fighting monsters in the sky is to harvest ether gold. That's what these drill cannons and so on are actually for. And you're also an expert in demolitions and explosives. Here you can choose as a core skill, ballistic skill or crafting. So you're a craftsman and an engineer and a warrior. The ENDRINMASTER and the Skyrigger are both members of the Engineers Guild, which is the modern equivalent of smith. So you can make things, you can make weapons, you can make Endrin suits, you can make armor, you can make any kind of gadget. And here the usual Cubicle 7 genius comes in again. In most of the Cubicle 7 games, your adventure doesn't stop with the end of the adventure. You actually play out the time in between adventures, and in this time you can undertake an endeavor. And in the case of an engineer, it's of course making something. This is even more true for the AETHER-KHEMIST, of course, who is both a true craftsman and a true scientist. He's basically the Nikola Tesla in the game. And remember, in this game no character is worse off than another. It's very balanced, they're all very powerful. No skill and no talent is useless here. He's part of the AETHER-KHEMIST guild, not the Engineers Guild. And he knows things about ether gold and the world in general that no one else knows. The ENDRINMASTER, for example, can really build suits and ships, airships. And of course he's also a warrior. All dwarves can fight, but of course in this game you need a higher body, but you can get that later. Here is the very long list of all the ethermatic devices you can have or create yourself. And as I've mentioned, as an endeavor between the adventures, you can run wild with your creativity, you can make new devices. This is all very different from the Fyreslayers, who are more the old kind of dwarves. The RUNESMITER, which is a traditional Grimnir priest, a priest of fire and war and gold. A very cool talent, I think, is sense Urgold. So they can sense where Urgold is hidden from far away. And the miracles they are capable to perform are truly astounding. They can make the ground crack and molten lava comes forth. They can command the stone to part and let them through, creating a passage, a tunnel. Or little practical things like cauterize wounds or empower weapons. Amazing stuff. These priests are really very good in this game. In many role-playing games, priests and bards are a little bit weak and lame, but not in this one. Which brings us to the Fyreslayer Bard, the Battlesmith, which I think is the most unique character in the whole game. It's very, very fascinating. He's also a sort of priest, and he summons strength and miracles not by praying, but by telling tales of heroes. To compare it with the strategy game, it's like he's the command unit. Yeah, he's the champion, the musician, and the standard bearer all in one. If you enjoy the role-playing, the acting part of playing role-playing games, then this is for you. And lastly, of course, the Doomseeker, the Slayer, the Godric, basically, of the game is you have taken a doom oath. You have taken an oath to fight yourself to death and die honorably to make up for something else. You've left your lodge. You are an adventurer, a very, very courageous adventurer. You're hard to kill. You can work yourself into a battle rage. You can diminish your armor in favor of your weapon skill. All-out attacks, hoping that you will smash your enemy to pieces with the first blow, which is possible in this game. Especially if you use a two-handed hammer or axe. And if you later raise your soul to 3, then you will be super fast and super unstoppable. And remember, in the strategy game you have all these runes that you can have etched into your skin. The rune of Awakened Steel, the rune of Farsight, the rune of Fiery Determination, the rune of Fury, the rune of Iron Skin, the rune of Relentless Zeal, the rune of Searing Heat, and all of these are very powerful and you can have them in this game as well. So this is a heaven for Dwarf fans as well, I think. Tell me what you think, leave it in the comments below. Thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and see you very soon.